You open this video and you're not entirely sure why, not because you were looking for it, just because your thumb moved and here you are. And that's kind of the whole thing. You move through a lot of your day like that, not fully deciding, not fully present, just existing at a slight distance from your own life, going through the motions, doing the things, but feeling like you're watching yourself from one step behind. You're not depressed, you're not broken, you're just somewhere else, and you have been for a while. Here's the specific kind of nowhere you live in now. You pick up your phone, open Instagram, scroll for 8 seconds, close it, open it again, scroll the same posts, close it, open YouTube, 15 seconds of something, leave, open Twitter, 1 sentence, put it down, pick it up 30 seconds later. Your hands memorize that loop without your permission. Now here's the one that hits differently. You open your music, skip a song before it's 5 seconds in, skip another, skip 7 songs in a row without listening to one, put your phone down, sit in silence, pick it back up and open Spotify again. You weren't looking for a song. You don't know what you were looking for. You're watching a show. Good show, actually. But 2 minutes in, you pause it, not because you need to do something. Man, open Instagram, watch 3 reels, go back to the show, rewind because you missed what happened. Watch for another 90 seconds. Pause again. At some point, your phone stopped being entertainment. It became avoidance. You're just not sure what you're avoiding. Someone's talking to you, someone you actually like, and halfway through what they're saying, you're gone. Not obviously. Your face is doing the right things, but your brain drifted somewhere formless, and when they finished their sentence, you heard the words but couldn't tell anyone what they meant, so you say yeah or you repeat the last thing they said back to them, and it works. But you noticed someone close to you is saying something that matters to them, something real, something slightly vulnerable, and midway through, you're thinking about something you saw earlier, something completely irrelevant, and you feel guilty, and you try to come back, but a piece of you is still gone. You took a photo of the last thing that was supposed to move you, and before you checked whether you were actually moved, you were mentally preparing your reaction to the moment before the moment was over. You stopped living experiences. You started documenting them while they were still happening. Somewhere along the way, being present became something you performed rather than something you did. You're tired. Not tired like you did something, tired like you did nothing. And somehow that was worse. You stared at your phone for 4 hours, watched some things, scrolled some things, ate a meal while a video played, and when the food was gone, you couldn't remember eating it. You answered some messages. You existed, and you're completely drained. Here's the uncomfortable truth about that. Your brain wasn't resting today. It was processing, quietly, constantly, without producing anything, just receiving fragments, notification, headline, 3 seconds of a video, a caption, a comment, a reel, a tweet, a notification again, hundreds of micro inputs, zero completion, nothing ever finished, nothing ever absorbed. You consume for 8 hours and produce nothing, not a thought, not a feeling, not even real relaxation, just intake. A brain running like that doesn't rest between inputs. It idles in a permanent state of low-grade activation, always slightly alert, never fully anything. That's why the tiredness has no logic to it. You didn't earn it, but you can't escape it either. When was the last time something genuinely moved you, not entertained, not distracted, actually moved, where something landed inside you and stayed there? Think carefully, because the answer might take longer than it should. You used to read and remember what you read. You used to hear a song and feel it in a specific way, in a specific moment that the song would carry forever afterward. You used to finish something and sit with how it felt instead of immediately opening the next thing. Now you watch something, and before it ends, you're already looking for what's next. You check your phone in the middle of movies. You reread messages 3 times because the first 2 times your eyes moved but your brain wasn't there. You walk into a room and forget why you came. Not occasionally, frequently. You stand in the kitchen or the bathroom doorway and the reason is just gone. Erased before it could finish being a thought. And you stand there for a second, slightly lost, and then you pick up your phone. Here's what that actually is. Your attention span didn't just shorten. Your brain stopped practicing the act of completing a thought. Thousands of times a day, it starts something and abandons it. Starts and abandons. Until finishing anything, a thought, a video, a feeling, those started to feel harder than it used to. Not impossible, just slower. like a muscle that hasn't been asked to work in a long time. The scary part isn't losing focus. It's getting used to being mentally absent. You check your phone, no notifications. You check it again 20 seconds later, not because you forgot, you knew there was nothing, you checked anyway. That's not habit anymore. That's your nervous system reaching for stimulation the way a reflex reaches for balance, automatically without decision before your brain has authorized it. And here's the thing nobody says directly. Your life stopped feeling lived and started feeling consumed. You're in it, technically. But there's a version of you that's been watching the whole thing from behind a screen, behind a scroll, behind a constant low-level hum of content and notification and input that never fully stops and never fully satisfies. Days blur, weeks blur. You reach the end of a month, and when you try to locate what actually happened, there isn't much. Not because nothing happened, because nothing fully registered, nothing got the chance. Your brain adapted to this. That's the part that's hard to sit with. Brains are efficient, they change based on what they're asked to do, and yours was asked thousands of times a day, every day for years, to skim, to move, to stay half engaged with everything and fully engaged with nothing, to treat every experience as content passing through rather than something to feel completely. It got very good at that. And now, even when you want stillness, even when you choose to sit without the phone, something in you keeps moving, the mental tabs stay open, the invisible scroll continues. Silence doesn't feel like rest, it feels like deprivation. You're not broken, you're calibrated by years of an environment that rewarded distraction and punished stillness, where silence started feeling uncomfortable, where your brain learned to expect the next thing before the current thing even finished, and eventually you stopped experiencing your life completely. You started skimming it, conversations, music, moments, thoughts, feelings. Everything became something your attention touched, briefly, before moving on. Because somewhere along the way, constant stimulation started feeling safer than stillness. Stillness leaves room for thoughts to catch up, for emotions to surface, for you to notice how disconnected you've actually felt. But you noticed this every time you drifted during a conversation, every time you reached for your phone without thinking, every time a whole day passed without feeling fully real. That part never went numb. It's still there, still noticing, still trying to pull you back into the room. The fog isn't who you are, it's what you adapted to. And maybe the scariest part of all of this is realizing you weren't just losing focus, you were slowly disappearing from your own life.